When I was in undergraduate school, I was replicating Chuck Close paintings, and I was doing them in black and white, and I was terrified of color.
And I moved to Portland for a job at Oregon College of Art and Craft, and I got here from the Middle East. I'd spent 5 years living in the Middle East. Prior to that, I was in the southeast of the U.S., studied architecture, and then studied fine art.
I was in high school, and I didn't like any other classes other than shop and poetry. And I wanted to take a ceramics class, but I skipped school on the day we were supposed to sign up for classes, and the only thing they had open was photography.
I started making my own clothing a lot when I was in high school, and that was at the point when I started to get really interested in construction and pattern making.
When I came out of college, I was primarily working as a painter, quote unquote, and it wasn't until a few years out of graduate school even that I started working in sculpture.
I was starting to study the flugelhorn. I wasn't really satisfied. It's a monophonic sound. Like on a piano, you can play multiple keys at the same time, but with a horn, you can only create one pitch at a time.
A lot of my process, I like to think of it, it's very playful. I think that the work is playful too. I hope that that comes through in the work.
Most of my paintings, each panel has at least 30 layers of paint. I use white, blue, yellow, and red. And so I mix all my color layer upon layer.
I will do photography without cameras. I'll just mentally go in and put myself for a few hours in front of my medicine cabinet, and I'll take my head and understand the shift, the very gentle shift that happens in front of that box without a camera, without lights, but still recording little bits of systematic information and try to hold that together.
My process really starts with the material. I've been working primarily with vinyl for a while now. I'm just really attracted to the paradox that's kind of imbued into what it is, and it also has great sculptural qualities.
Well, I think my work is inseparable from its process. I think that's actually where the art is. The objects that are in the museum or in a gallery are just the points of exchange. And generally, those objects get recycled. They get brought back into the studio after an exhibition. They get cut up. They get used again for something else. So that whole mentality of converting material into form and meaning is really what happens in my studio, and that, to me, is where the artwork is.
The whole concept and idea, it always starts first with a musical aspect, like what kind of sounds I want to work with, what kind of sounds I want to create with this particular installation.
I'm very seduced by the environment here. Jackson in particular is just this, really powerful kind of idyllic setting.
My workplace, so to speak, does have a huge influence. I tend to make work within it, and a lot of times those groupings that I make, I'm working on them in the studio. These sorts of relationships start to form.
There's so much that you can do outdoors. It makes me feel good, it makes me happy, it makes me thrive.
If you're stuck in your house and it's 3 a.m. and you want to be experiencing grandeur, what do you do and how do you solve that for yourself? And it only comes for myself, from making it up.
So I have like drawers and drawers full of this stuff I collected over the 30 plus years, which I knew eventually there's a need for it. So I noticed that only this country with this tremendous wealth of junk would be my paradise. When did you decide to be an artist? So there was never a decision.
Once I got started, then there was just no stopping the obsession.
All at once, you're looking from 12 different points of view.
Using paint to create light.
It's about the color that I see.
The depth of the picture frame.
With the sound move through space.
It plays right into what I want to do.
You start working with this and it sounds bad. What kind of solution could we find?
That's when I'm like, oh, thank God, just finally zipped together.
Appreciate what is in front of you.
It's kind of like this idea of love.
You can't escape it, but you don't always turn towards it and look at it.
And it has to resonate with me. And hopefully then that will transfer to whoever's looking at it.
What's sexier than red patent leather? I mean, Most people tell me they come up to it and they want to lick it or touch it or